I'm Dan Palomino with KW Big Island and the Hawaii team. And as you know, when we're doing these monthly updates, I'm telling you what it's like to live, work, and play, and of course, buy luxurious, fantastic real estate here in Hawaii. But for this month's video update, I'm doing something a little bit different because I want to tell you about all the luxury opportunities that are happening around the country, and in this case, happening around the globe. Today, I'm going to give you an interview with my friend Dane Rasmussen. And before I introduce him, I want to tell you about this really incredible opportunity. What if you could have your own private island? What if you could have a amazing luxury property on a private island? And what if that could come with all of the amenities and benefits that only few people dream of? Well, that is Key Chapel. And we're going to tell you all about it. And I want to welcome my friend Dane Rasmussen. Dane has been in the luxury real estate space for over 2 decades with Inspirato and with exclusive resorts. And now he's charged with selling $1 billion worth of real estate on an island 13 miles off the coast of Belize. Welcome. How are you?
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, what an amazing project. I got to fill everybody in. I was at my luxury conference in San Diego, and Dane was one of the speakers at the luxury conference, and we got to talking afterwards and then at the cocktail party. And he presented this new project that they're working on in cooperation here with the Four Seasons. And I thought this was just fantastic. And the first thing that popped into my head was, I have to tell this to all of the people in my database, like everybody who should know about this opportunity. So tell us, what is Key Chapel?
Yeah, for sure. And make sure that if anybody inquires that they ask you to put you in
Yes,
touch with me. So yes,
that's right.
so Key Chapel is an island paradise. It's 3 miles long. It sits almost perfectly perpendicular up and down. So there's a sunrise side and a sunset side. It's a
Okay.
7-minute flight off of the coast of Belize. You fly into Belize City.
Yeah.
Belize City is accessible by 13 cities in the United States,
Okay.
direct flight. So it's actually very easy to get to from either coast.
Yeah.
And it's this amazing new destination where a third of the island will basically be a Four Seasons resort, private residences, hotel rooms, multiple restaurants, kids
Yeah.
programming, and whatnot. The other two-thirds of the island is a private golf and ocean club that has a 10-hole Greg Norm designed golf course on it and a whole set of amenities for club members. So it's both a private club and it's a Four Seasons on a private island.
And how did this all come about? Did the people at Four Seasons just, were they traveling around the world and said, hey, let's buy an island?
Actually, no, it's so with many of the Four Seasons, they're actually owned by development companies. And so this is actually a developer that has had multiple, developments, probably decades of resort developments. One of the most recent developments that his family completed is the Montage in Los
Oh,
Cabos. Many
yeah,
people are familiar with or have been
sure.
to. It's a phenomenal resort. It's probably the nicest resort I've been to, and I've been to resorts all over the world. That family completed that resort, and from what they learned in that development, they decided that they were going to start to create a series of communities that will both be a private club and it will be anchored by a five-star resort. So it's actually a development group out of Mexico City that is the developer behind it. And then the Four Seasons is partnered with this. So the Four Seasons creates the longest hotel
Yeah.
management agreements in the luxury hospitality space. And so this is effectively a Four Seasons resort on a going forward basis. And so it's really the marriage of those two things that really is what's going to create this. The interesting thing about this destination is that it's not that large, that the Four Seasons will likely manage the entire island.
Yeah.
Even though the Four Seasons will only be a third of it, they'll actually do all of the service throughout the island.
Now we're going to look at pictures and Dane's going to show us some stuff in a second. But I got to think that there had to be major operational challenges to developing an island. When they found this, was it just completely uninhabited?
It was not it being used, but it was actually in the 80s. This island was developed for a individual for their own personal resort. Actually, a person out of Kentucky owned the island
Okay.
previously and put a golf course. So if you went out
Oh,
and Googled Key Chapel, you could go see there was an 18-hole golf course on the island, and there was only a small number of buildings on the island
right.
back then. And so it really kind of sat vacant for a number of years until this family came along, found this piece of real estate, and actually acquired it from the Belizean government. And so it's an island that just makes sense to be a resort. It was just
Yeah.
destined to be developed, and it just so happens that we're the lucky ones that get a chance to do it along with the Four Seasons. So
Well, before I get into logistics, because I got all kinds of questions about that, but why don't you show us the property? I don't want to hold people off anymore because I think they have to see it to see how amazing it is.
yeah, for sure. So are you
Yeah,
seeing that
I
screen?
am seeing that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the northern part of the island. The logo of Four Seasons is in the way, but just so if you haven't been to Belize before, this part of Belize is very shallow and it's actually protected by a reef system. It's the second largest reef system in the world, just
Yeah.
after the Great Barrier Reef System in Australia. And so this all around the island is absolutely stunning, crystal clear water that turns from greens to blues throughout the day based off of where the sun sets. But those are actually over the water bungalows, so we'll have a very much of a feel of like like a Bali or a Fiji type of
Fiji, yeah.
experience. But over here in this part of in the Caribbean, so it's unique also in the Caribbean. It's also pretty far south in the Caribbean as well. So it's not in the path of many of the major storms that come through. Belize actually is very infrequent for it actually to get hit by a major storm, which is a conversation for another time. But that's obviously a concern that people
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is another shot of the island from
Wow.
above. So the very northern tip, and so the island actually looks like it's heading down. This is
Yeah.
actually the very northern tip of the island. These are the private villas that sit around the outside. These are the 24 Four Seasons branded residences. And
Okay.
these are the hotel rooms, the Four
Okay.
Seasons Resort, multiple pools here,
Yeah.
one beach club with restaurants,
Yeah.
another pool, a bunch of restaurants here. You can start to see the Greg Norman golf course sort
Yeah.
of creep in at the top.
Yeah.
This will be an overwater bungalow restaurant. These will be overwater bungalows.
Okay.
And then this is the presidential suite. It'll be about $250,000 to book the presidential suite if you
Wow.
want to come in and make that booking. But the amenities are spread throughout this island. So that's actually the spa. It's a cenote inspired spa.
Yeah.
These are the treatment rooms right here. So some workout facilities in here. But the villas that we have for sale are in fact actually a part of the resort. They're
Okay.
not down the road or anything. They're actually the main part of the resort. So if you were to buy one of these, you'd own a property at the future one of the coolest developments the Four Seasons is working on.
How many
So yeah,
properties are going to be available for sale, and how far along are you in the project?
for sure. So this part right here is all under construction. So what's unique about developing real estate on an island is that you have to develop it really. You can't just build one house and then move on and come back and build more houses. The island's too skinny there, so it would be disruptive if we didn't just build that all at the same time. So this entire part of the island is under full construction. There are
Okay.
actually 350 construction workers that live on the island full time
Yeah.
while the island's being constructed. And so after this part of the island is being worked on, and then the golf course right down the center is being redeveloped.
Okay.
After that's finished, and people actually, if they chose to, they could buy all of this along this side. These are all oceanfront lots, and same on this side. The whole island is basically oceanfront real estate. There's no inland properties at all. So it's your choice if you want to be on the sunrise or sunset, but everybody gets to look out at an ocean either in the morning or in the evening.
All right, so the next question people are going to have is give me an idea of how this works. Do I buy the land and then do I pick a model, or do you have models already set? Am I buying a land and home package together?
Yeah, for sure. So if you kind of have two options. The first option is to take a branded residence, and branded residences are a very popular way for more and more people to buy second homes in tropical locations because it comes with a few elements that make it much easier than just buying a property that's just not affiliated with the resort. Number one is the floor plans are set, and you purchase these properties right now with current pricing. They come fully furnished. The floor plans are already set. you just select, you want 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, or 4 bedrooms. With the Four Seasons, there is a program that they have where you can put it into the rental pool and you can generate income from it. So you don't work with an Airbnb or VRBO, which is also one of the other main benefits. Is and then when you stay there, you get full access to all the amenities of the Four Seasons. And typically, from an appreciation standpoint, what happens with these developments is many buyers choose not to buy until after the resort opens. And so, if you were to buy before the resort opens, there's actually a tremendous amount of appreciation that can be gained if you actually do beat the rush and buy before the resort is open. But this is the standard. You could look at this. This is actually going to be either a 3 bedroom or a 2 bedroom. The only difference between those and a 4 bedroom is that one of the bedrooms sits on top up here if you end up buying a 4 bedroom property. But it's totally turnkey. If you choose to have that type of, I don't want to touch it, I want to be hands off, I want someone else to take care of it, build it, whatever the case may be, you can just buy a branded property. On the other hand, if you just want to go build your own property, you can buy a piece of land and construct a property on the island and work with our architecture team.
Gotcha. So you can do it both ways. Let's say I
Correct.
love this and I just want to do this. And I'm like everybody else. I'm probably going to be there 3, 4 times a year. Um, do you guys property manage it for me?
Yes, the Four Seasons does. So the Four
Okay.
Seasons has a property management arm of their of the group, and there's actually a residence manager that is on site that will report directly into the GM. And so typically, if you own out of Four Seasons, there's an extra layer of service, concierge service, that's even on top of what you would get if you're a member of the Ocean and Golf Club.
Yeah.
And so they'll take care of the property. If there's anything needs to be updated, they can update it. If you do put it in the rental program, they just send you a check. It's basically a 50-50 split in terms of the rental income. They'll just send you a check each month, and when you're not using it. So it's real easy to put it in. You can take it out when you like. You can use it when you like. You can let friends use it if you like. That's obviously not, you're not going to be using
Yeah.
it for generating income at that time if you're using it or friends are using it. But it's real simple to put it in and out of the program.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question of whether or not you could short-term vacation rental these. And everybody's going to ask that question. And I'm sure everyone wants to see if they can make a little money while they're not there.
Yeah, you can, and the way to do it is to put it with the Four Seasons. The Four Seasons will rent it as one of their 3 bedroom options when you go to the Four Seasons website. Like if you were to go to the Four Seasons Papagayo or
Yeah.
Four Seasons Anguilla, you would rent a 3 bedroom property. Well, actually, it'd be a 3 bedroom property that you might own. Same thing that happens at the Peninsula Papagayo location. If you're renting one of those 3 bedroom properties or 4 bedroom properties there, it's typically owned by an individual homeowner.
Yeah. So how many are constructed now that you have for sale, or do I have to come in and start from scratch? And if I do, how long is that going to take?
So today we started with 24 branded Four Seasons branded residences.
Okay.
Of the 24, we have about nine left.
Wow.
There's nine left. Um, so five 3 bedroom, two 4 bedroom, and two 2 bedroom
Okay.
that are left. The properties range between 4.5 million and 6.5 million.
Okay.
So think about the whole island being about 120 home sites.
Yeah.
24 of the properties are actually going to be constructed alongside the Four Seasons resort.
Yeah.
So of that original 24, there's about nine properties left today.
So it's 6.5 million. Is that your top end?
That is for the if you want to buy the 4 bedroom property, that's the top end of it, and that it comes fully furnished. Probably has about $750,000 worth of furnishing,
Yeah.
equipment, electronics, and whatnot. So it comes 100% turnkey. You don't have to worry about picking out any of that. That it just comes with it included.
And what is the square footage roughly on the 4 bedroom for 6.5?
Here you can look. I'll go
Yeah.
back to
Okay.
the
There it
four
is.
bedroom.
Yeah.
So it's about four. It's about
4,800
4,800
square feet. That's a good sized
square
place.
feet.
Yeah.
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 And right there is the ocean. Every one of these properties has its own linear
Yeah.
number of linear feet. It's about 70 feet of linear feet of
Yeah.
ocean. So yeah, and you're typically looking out over the reef system. If you're looking on the east side, if you're on the west side, you get the sunsets. And so yeah,
Great point on the reef system. With a reef that large, I would imagine that it's going to protect this island from a lot of waves and storms that would go that way, correct?
Yeah, that is correct. It's one of the other benefits from a geography standpoint, other than it being basically in a corner down there,
Yeah.
so it's hard for hurricanes to hit it,
Yeah.
is that the reef system, it's very shallow there. And
Oh,
so there's just not as much energy when it comes to storms coming through there. And the water is extremely calm. I mean, think about on the sunset side of the island, it's like glass. Here, you
yeah.
can almost see in the picture behind me, you can
Yeah.
see the sunset. You can see it's
Yeah.
almost complete. And
Yeah.
it's because the reef system provides a lot of protection. There's a lot less, it's just not very turbulent back in that part of Belize.
All right. Now, let's say I've bought, my house is built, I'm there. What kind of amenities can I expect? I mean, I've seen pictures of sailboats and so forth, and we know about the golf. The spa at the Four Seasons, if you've ever been to a spa at the Four Seasons, kind of speaks for itself. But I got to
Yeah.
imagine that the scuba and the snorkeling are just off the hook, right?
Yeah, this is right in that area that people go. And historically, Belize has been a little bit more of a backpacker's paradise, is a good way to say it. Many people have been there before there, and there really isn't a major five-star resort there yet. But that
Yeah.
all changes when the Four Seasons shows up. Similar to what the Four Seasons
Yeah.
did in Peninsula Papagayo and Punta Mita, they really created that luxury market. So if somebody's been to Belize, they've absolutely loved it, but they've typically rented some, sort of like bed and breakfast, or stayed in, a three-star hotel. Typically, it's not, it hasn't yet to this point, prior to the Four Seasons showing up,
Yeah.
been a luxury destination. But that all changes. But it is right in the middle of. There's a great snorkel area. It's called Hol Chan, which is about 20 minutes to the north of this. But
Yeah.
literally, you can go right off the coast, and there's all sorts of sea life and sea creatures right there on your doorstep.
Have you been fishing yet? How's the fishing?
It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm not a huge fisherman, so I'm sorry if for all of those. I can't really talk the lingo, but I mean, we caught some major fish while we were out there.
Yeah.
We actually caught some lobster, and we brought back the fish and the lobster.
Yeah.
Had our chef there on site prepare it. But yeah, you're not going to have a hard time catching fish. It's very well known for saltwater fly fishing in the area. There's
Yeah.
also deep sea fishing as well. There's just a huge variety of different types of fishing. Are you a big fisherman, Dan?
I am. I like that. And I like the fact that, you're going to go here and seafood will be on the menu that night. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
great. I
for
play
sure.
around of golf and take a nap and have a big meal. I'm a happy guy.
Yeah, for sure. Well, this
Well,
will be you could catch a nap there. I'll just show this is the spa. I'll show a picture of the spa. It's a cenote
yeah.
inspired spa, and then I got to show you our signature hole. We're going to call it the
Yeah.
blue hole. For those of you that know Belize, it actually has a blue hole that's out in the middle of the ocean that's well known. But this is going to be our blue hole. It'll be the signature hole in the golf course. So yeah, tons of great amenities right there on the island.
And it's 10 holes because I obviously the size of the island is a factor.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wanted to make the holes championship length. So we went
Yeah.
from an 18-hole course, which is what it used to be, to a
Yeah.
10-hole course. But we also created a short course, par three course that can be played at night.
Okay.
We will light it up, and it's great. So yeah, you have a couple different courses to choose from.
Yeah, that's great. And all of the usual stuff that I would expect with the Four Seasons, I call them, I tell them I'm coming in town. My refrigerator's stocked with the food that I need beforehand. I call them and I tell them I'm having a dinner party for 8 and we're going to need that catered and that's all handled, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also a part of the Ocean and Golf Club. There'll be people tripping over each other to try to make sure that all of your groceries are stocked, that
Yeah.
all of your spa appointments are made. And in this destination, this area, this marina, there'll be little shops and areas. So if you do choose to live on the island, you can
Yeah.
actually go and pick up some fresh meat to prepare, or go
Yeah.
fishing, and or go to a local fish area right here. There'll be a dive shop right here as well. If you wanted to go out and do some of that stuff on yourself, on your own, it's not like you're in the middle of nowhere. You're literally 7 miles off or 13 miles off the coast of Belize City, and you're only 5 minutes away from Key Cocker, which is a little island right next to it, with decent sized population. So you
Yeah.
can go get your own stuff. You can actually go to restaurants. Sometimes people like to be secluded, but sometimes people like to go out a little bit too and investigate the
Sure.
area. So you can do a little bit of both here.
Okay, let's not hold back anymore. Let's tell people that because they might be watching this interview right now and they're saying, I'm in. Like, how do I get started with, exploring this possibility? becoming a homeowner, visiting the island to see if I like. How does that all process work?
Yeah, first of all, they should call you, and then
Yeah.
you're going to put them in touch with me. The island is very private. We don't let anybody on the island unless they're serious buyers
Yeah.
to come and evaluate purchasing real estate. We have our own village that we've set up for potential home owners to come down and check out the island for 2 or 3 nights if they want to.
Yeah.
All you have to do is get to the Belize City Airport, and we'll handle it everything from there. We have a chef, we have a masseuse, we have a yoga deck, yoga instructor.
Yeah.
We have a whole adventure team that will
Okay.
take you out throughout the whole area. But really, it's to call you, Dan, and then if based off of our conversation and the conversation that we have with the prospective buyer, if it's determined that there's a potential fit there, we'd love to invite you down for a couple of nights and come and check out the island.
Sure. Everybody's vetted, I'm assuming, and to be qualified buyers. And then and so let's say I'm there. I've had a great time. I've enjoyed it. I'm absolutely in. I pick out a lot and a plan with you, and away we go. Is that
That's
right?
correct. You would put in an offer to purchase, just like any other piece of
Yeah.
real estate, and you would effectively have control of that property while you went through a 3 week due diligence process. And after that 3 week due diligence process, it would be determined whether or not you're going to move forward or not. If you don't, it's a non-binding agreement.
Yeah.
It's an offer to buy. But if you do decide to move forward, that's when we would you would sign a purchase sale agreement, and effectively you would start the process of buying a property. Now, what's interesting about buying a property that's in a development like this that's currently being constructed is that you actually don't pay for the property all at one time. You pay for it really over 3 increments over the next 12
Okay.
months as we
Excellent.
hit certain construction milestones
Yeah.
along the way. But there is no financing in Belize, so these are all cash transactions. You can obviously do self
Yeah.
financing, but that's also important to note. It is a free and clear title. There's no long, it's not like it's a 99-year lease, like purchasing in Mexico or anything like that. You actually own the land, and you
Yeah.
own the property here in Belize.
That was going to ask if it was a fee simple property. There's no land leases, that type of thing. That's great. We have land leases in Hawaii, and people don't like them. People like to
Yeah.
own the dirt that
Yeah.
that it's built on. All right, now, but everything. Let's just hypothetically say the last nine sold out. I came in a little late. I need to start from scratch. Dane, how long is it going to be?
My sense is it would probably take you somewhere between 9 and 12 months to build a
Okay.
property from
Got it.
scratch.
Okay.
Once you selected the piece of land, you can actually it's going to vary based off of how much linear ocean you would like.
Yeah.
We start it's usually anywhere between 75 to 125 linear feet. You can actually purchase two lots next to each other if
Yeah.
you wanted to. That's possible. There's only 120 home sites on the island. What'll be interesting is because there's limited real estate on this island, I think that actually will drive up values more. Typically, when there's restricted amount of inventory in a location like this, home value should increase as the island gets closer and closer to selling out
Yeah.
over the next, I'd say, 5 to 10 years.
And the beauty part of this is that everybody is oceanfront, right? It's
Everybody's oceanfront.
everybody's oceanfront with a sunset
Yep.
or a sunrise.
Sunrise or sunset, whichever side
Yeah.
you choose. All of the food outlets are typically on the sunset side. All the restaurants
Okay.
are all on the sunset side. It's breeze. You get a little bit more on the breeze on the sunrise side. So I do find buyers are typically, I want sunset or bust, or they're typically, I'll get the sunset. I like to wake up in the sun, and I appreciate having the constant Caribbean breeze.
Yeah.
And so it kind of depends on what your preferences are there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for this. It's been so great. I know everybody that's part of my sphere and database are going to be totally interested in this, and how could you not? And again, just to reiterate, if you're interested in this project and want more information, contact me, Dan, here at the Hawaii team. All of my contact information is in this newsletter. You can hit the button and just reach out to me with an email, text message, phone call, whatever is the easiest for you. And I will put you in touch with Dane. If for some reason you do reach out directly to Key Chapel and try to get a hold of Dane, please tell him that I sent you. Thank you. I really
Of
enjoyed
course.
this. It was so informative. I love telling all of my clients and people in my sphere about unique and terrific opportunities like this.
Of course. Yeah, I appreciate you having me, Dan, and hopefully we can make Belize as awesome of a destination as Hawaii is. So we're trying. So yeah.
Thanks again, Dane. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Bye
Aloha.
bye.